up, what up, what up? This is Mike the Philosopher here with another one. This one is divorce court, all right? We got a DNA dilemma in the building, so I thought I'd cover this one. Why don't you watch it with me, shall you? Or shall we? Shall we watch it together? I messed that whole joint up, but we're going to watch it together. Let's go in.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding. Your Honor, this is the case of Brockert versus Gibson.
Thank you very much. Ms. Brockert, you are in court today because you want to prove to Mr. Gibson that he is indeed the father of your 2-year-old daughter. You want Mr. Gibson to stop denying his child so that you can finally be a family.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Gibson, you say you haven't met the baby in question due to your strong feelings that Ms. Brockert cheated on you. You say your life is on hold until you get the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
True.
Wait a minute, y'all. This brother look like he about 54, okay? He don't look no 34. He look like he is at least 44. He looks like 10 to 20 years older than what he is. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but let's go in.
Truly, all the stakes are in this courtroom today because this family is literally on hold. Ms. Brockert, you guys have been together for 5 years on and off. There is indeed a 2-year-old baby in question. Take me back to 2015 when you all first met.
Yes, Your Honor. We were friends for quite a while. We talked to each other about everything. We could always tell each other anything and know that that secret would not get out. You know, we had a lot of trust built up. So we took it to the next level and things were fine for a while, but I feel like when our friendship went into a relationship, the trust just went out the window. He thought that I was cheating on him all the time. He thought that I was coming home smelling like other men. I didn't understand that we had so much trust built up where it all went when we decided to take it to the next level, because we thought that we could be with each other and that we were good for each other.
Mr. Gibson, everything seemed to be going all right. It sounded like it was leading to something that could have been long-term. Why were you not trusting?
There was a lot of times when she came back, she did have another man's scent or cologne on her. I thought she was getting too close to some of her male friends.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure if they were friends or if they were
friends with benefits. Mm-hmm. Where does that come from, Ms. Brockert? Because was there something that you were doing that was different?
Everything was pretty much always the same. He knew that I had a lot of male friends because he was one of them. But he's also seen me be in relationships with other people and knew that I was faithful because I would always come to him when I had relationship problems in the past when we were just friends.
So you're saying to me...
Not sure what's going on with her right arm. Not that that's really important or a part of the story, but it's just something I noticed. I wonder what's going on with her right arm. You know, let's go in.
There was nothing that you did specifically to garner that kind of mistrust. Is that correct?
I don't feel like there was. Now, he doesn't believe that Cadence is his.
I know that's why we're here.
Yeah, so, and I know why he thinks that. I know why that's in the back of his mind.
Let me go over to Mr. Gibson first, because Mr. Gibson, I want to get a little bit more about you. You know, I have a rule.
I just seen a picture of the baby. Look just like this dude, okay? I would not be surprised if he is the father. Let's go in.
Everybody can have a little baggage in a relationship, but you can't bring a whole matched set of luggage. No. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about. Were you bringing a little baggage, which is typical, or a whole set of luggage to this relationship?
Well, I had eyes and ears all over town.
Oh.
I'd tell them to watch out for a person. They'd watch out for that person and they'd let me know.
You never said that to me before, though.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, Ms. Brockert.
He never gave me a good reason. He
may have been Inspector Gadget, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that he had a lot of worries because he didn't want to lose me because we were so close before we became in a relationship.
But where does that come from, Mr. Gibson? Did you have someone that cheated on you or something that you couldn't trust?
My ex,
okay.
She failed to tell me that my best friend and her had a past relationship. I come out walking out of the bedroom and I see them laying on the couch together the way she calls with me.
In your house?
In our apartment, yes, ma'am.
Oh, child, no.
And
So we already are establishing you are going to be looking side-eye at the next relationship. Is that what you're telling me?
yes, Your Honor.
Did you know this, Ms. Brockert?
No, he never communicated with me. Every time I talked to him about something serious, he would just laugh it off. Everything was a laughing joke. And he always accused me of cheating on him. There was no communication. And that was one of my biggest problems with him, was communication. And of course, the accusations, because I never once gave him a reason to mistrust.
Were you faithful?
Yes.
When you all
I
were
was.
dating?
And actually, before I broke up with him, I made it clear that we were not together because I knew that if I planned on seeing somebody else, I did not want to be considered someone that was unfaithful.
Mr. Gibson, I turn to you. Is that your interpretation of the way the relationship went?
Well, the relationship was going good for the start, but then I heard from a friend that she had been sitting on his lap.
And why was he bringing that information back to you?
I asked him to watch out for her when I wasn't around to make sure no one messed with her.
The reason why I broke up with him is because his cousin came to me and said, Kayla, I know that you're in love with Matthew and you guys have known each other for a long time, but there's something you need to know. And this is probably why he's coming up with all these things that you're doing, because he's not being faithful to you and he hasn't been faithful to you for a while. This was his cousin that told me out of nowhere. And there's no reason. I mean, they were very, very close.
So, Mr. Gibson, tag, you're it. Why did your cousin bring that information over to Ms. Brockert?
Him and I had a good relationship, but we also had our differences. I'm thinking he may have said that just to push buttons to see what the reaction would be.
Were you being faithful, sir?
I was being faithful.
And Ms. Brockert, you were not seeing other men at that time?
I was not seeing other men.
So it just seems to me that this really was indicative of trust issues. And I really like to point this out to couples because if you all stand a chance, we have to deal with these trust issues. I want to see your hands go up if you admit to this. Assume betrayal. Anticipate betrayal. Come on now, hand up. Overly protective. Distance themselves from others. I don't see that. Refuse to forgive even the smallest mistakes.
It takes me a lot longer to actually adjust for the trust issues because I've been hurt so much in the past.
On my list, we've never met before today. Excessively wary of others and process past hurts is on my list. Because you have to have a willingness to work on a relationship. You may reflect on a past experience, but you can't dwell in a past experience.
I understand that he had some trust issues. When I did break up with him, within them 2 weeks, I was seeing somebody else. And 2 weeks later, my pregnancy test came back positive. So I know that there was a red flag.
Ms. Brockert, as a grown woman, why wouldn't you want to protect yourself? I want to go back to some of those reasons that you say we moved to Ms. Brockert. Smelling like another man and late nights that were unexplained. That's what you said were a problem.
Yes.
Ms. Brockert, tag, you're it.
I never went out late night. Now, I understand that he had some trust issues. When I did break up with him, within them 2 weeks, I was seeing somebody else. And 2 weeks later, my pregnancy test came back positive. So I know that there was a red flag.
Ms. Brockert, if you had just broken up with somebody and you got with somebody 2 weeks later, as a grown woman, why wouldn't you want to protect yourself?
Wait a minute, y'all. Do you see the rock on the judge's desk? I don't know if you can see this, but she has a huge ring on her desk right here. I don't know how many carats that is, but I mean, Bugs Bunny will have a problem eating all those carrots. Let's see.
As a grown woman, why wouldn't you want to protect yourself? Because I am assuming that just having broken up with somebody 2 weeks later, you weren't looking to get pregnant.
No, I was using protection with the other guy, and it's somebody that actually was a mutual friend of ours.
He was actually a really close friend of mine that I've known for a couple of years.
Now I
Now
know
that
why there's some
he-
trust issues. I figure if I just ask a couple more questions, we would get to it. Because within 2 weeks of breaking up with this man, you got with another man that
Right.
all of y'all used to be friends together.
But
knew
before
she-
that, I never gave him any doubt.
That would be enough for me not to think that the baby was mine.
Right. I had to beg him to come to the pregnancy confirmation, and then he left the house that we were staying at and completely ghosted out. I finally got a hold of him, and I found out that he was staying in his friend's shed. So I finally mustered up the courage, and I knocked on that shed door, and I look in, and there's women's clothing all around him. There's underwear, bra, garments of all sorts. I said, what the frick is going on here? I said, you've been accusing me of doing all this stuff? When I broke up with you, I told you that who the person was that I was going to end up seeing. I was always honest and communicative with him.
I didn't know if that kid was mine or not.
He said that he believed that that was his at first.
Clearly, you thought that something was going on with her and someone else prior to the 2-week breakup.
Something like secretively behind my back.
I
And
was
it
willing
just
to leave that
broke me.
other guy alone completely. When I came to the shed and saw what was going on, I said, no, I love you, you're mine. And we made love right there in that shed. And I told him afterwards, I said, I want to be with you. I believe that this child is yours. Be with me and let's figure this out together. We love each other. We've known each other for a very long time.
And that's when
And
he
that was-
ghosted you?
He said, we're going to figure out if this child is mine or not, and I will still be there for you as a friend.
And I kept
he
on
never
telling her.
came around. He at all. I didn't know where he was. He went from that shed to somewhere else, and I was tired of tracking him down.
How long?
Bruh smashed and dashed. Smashed her in the shed and was like, yeah, whatever. I ain't trying to come around and all this other stuff. He wasn't gonna turn it down. He wasn't gonna turn it down. Some women, maybe of the lighter complexion, a lot of them have a lot of guy friends that I want to listen. Everybody cheats, okay? Everybody cheats. Men, women, doesn't matter the race, doesn't matter none of that. But oftentimes it seems like the lighter women, they really have a lot of male friends hanging around, and like what, he was a close friend of both of y'all. Why are you smashing a friend of both of y'all? Like I don't get that. I don't get that at all. At least she had the you know, the awareness to have this guy wrap it up. At least he wrapped it up. But you shouldn't be smashing the homie. Y'all just broke up. I get that. But you don't go to the how do I want to say? You don't go to the homie for one. And what, the second string, the third string? Sometimes women be so ready for, because sometimes a lot of women will, they say get up under someone to get over another person, if you know what I'm talking about. They'll get up under somebody else in order to get over somebody else. So they always have a guy in the background to, you know, rotate the tires if they need to. That's just messy work, though. That's just messy work to do that. And then she offered him some, and he was like, yeah, okay, I'll take it, but I still ain't coming around. I still don't think the baby is mine. I seen the baby. The baby looks a lot like the defendant. I ain't gonna hold you. I've been fooled before, though. I've been fooled before with DNA and test results. Sometimes I thought the baby was the person, and it ended up not being. So I don't know. I haven't seen this before. So let's hear some more.
From the time you all were intimate in the shed and had the great shed conversation, did you move on?
I was 6 weeks along. That took me back to the time of me being with him. At that point, I knew that was his child. I knew that wasn't the other man's child.
Well, a woman does know, Mr. Gibson. So
And she looks
might.
just
Don't say that, Judge. Okay. A woman knows. Tell that to Maury. Okay. Maury will tell you. You know Maury. He'll tell you 45 to 50% of those dudes was not the father. Okay. I think it's probably even more than that. I think on his show it was about 60%. Don't say the women know. A lot of times the women don't know. And they hoop and holler and run in the backstage and cry and I could have swore it was his and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, he doing the Dougie in the crowd, and you know, because he ain't the father, Dougieing it up. So don't say that, Your Honor. Women don't always know. Let's go in.
just like him.
She might be lying to me, but she's not gonna lie to herself. I'm gonna tell you that. She could stand, oh, look at that precious little baby. I don't know how you can stop from just eating her little face up.
And that time that we were separated, you were with that other person, and I didn't know if you were intimate with him like that.
You knew,
and you
though.
may have gotten
I
pregnant.
was honest with you about everything I
Miss
did.
Brockert, I have to tell you, he has every reason to ask the question.
And I'm not mad at him for that.
Why didn't you put Mr. Gibson's name on the birth certificate?
Because legally, I didn't know what type of father he was going to be.
It sounds like you were baby daddy shopping, straight up. And you picked the best of the situation. And you're gonna have to stand in the truth of that, which has to, in my opinion, be part of your doubts. Am I right, Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
I'm upset with the fact that he never talked to me about anything,
Well,
that he just left without figuring it out. We had been together through so much, and
Yes.
the fact that he just ghosted instead of being there for me, it made me feel like I meant nothing to him.
Well, maybe if you would have actually believed what I said, those clothes that you saw in that shed, what? I did not mess with that woman, did not even touch her. I let her sleep in that shed, and I went somewhere else.
You know, Matthew, at this
I
point, that's
went
all
somewhere
behind
else.
us. I just want to work
Because I was trying
on
to help
now.
the person out.
You still want this man?
Yes, I do. He has not got to meet Cadence yet, but she knows that he's dad. She calls him dad. She sees him over the videos. She knows that when she sees his face, that's dad. Because he said, whether she's mine or not, I still want to be in her life. Because she doesn't have a good father figure in her life right now.
Because that girl needs a father figure, someone that will take care of her.
I want my family back. I do.
But Miss Brockert, Cadence's birth certificate has another man's name on it.
It does, because when he decided that he didn't want anything to do with us, I wanted her to have stability. I wanted her to have someone that she could look up to that would guide her as a father.
Why would you put another man's name on the birth certificate knowing in your heart that baby was mine?
Because you didn't care. You weren't around, Matthew.
Here's my question, Miss Brockert. Why didn't you put Mr. Gibson's name on the birth certificate?
Because legally, I didn't know what type of father he was going to be. The father that was in her life at that time, he was a good father figure. If I put Mr. Gibson's name on it and then he ended up being the type of person that would fight for full custody just because, or I didn't know what type of person he was going to be.
Miss Brockert, I'm going to tell you
I was
what it
trying
sounds
to protect
like.
my daughter.
It sounds like you were baby daddy shopping, straight up, figuring out which one is going to provide the best situation for me and my kid. Now, mind you, I'm not going to pass judgment on that, but I am going to call it out because you were.
That's my job. I'm going to pass judgment. How is the judge not going to pass judgment? Come on now. See, this is what I mean by Judge Starr. She do kind of look out for the women. So I do my part to look out for the men a little bit. Now, I'm unbiased, okay? But I still see the bias in the courtroom, and I try to counter that with understanding for the men. And let me tell you something. Dirty work. Dirty work. That is so selfish to not put the so-called man. You You would swear to God that this guy is the father, and you don't put him on a birth certificate. You put another man. Like, are you doing that for the kid? Are you doing that for the child? The child don't want another man on their birth certificate. They want their daddy on their birth certificate. That just makes zero sense. And like the judge said, you baby daddy shopping. What are you doing? You trying to find out who is going to be the best father for the child. And I'm going to tell you, she ain't the only one that does that. A lot of women do this. They will even probably give it up to a guy who they're not even really into and claim that they're pregnant by him, tell him he's the father. There's no need for a test. Next thing you know, 20 years later, he paying for the baby and the babies ain't even his. I seen this one video of this lawyer. It was a white guy. He was a lawyer. He was like 60 years old. And he found out his 40-year-old kids were not his. They were always bums, lazy, good for nothing. That's what he called them. I spent 40 years thinking these lowlifes were my kids and they wasn't even mine. And I'm talking about not one, not two, but about 3 of them was not his. He was an attorney. He could afford to pay for the baby. So the mother was out smashing somebody else while he was at work and getting pregnant, and she would give him some just to make him feel like they was his. He did a blood test because I guess his brother or something needed a blood transfusion or needed a organ donation or something. He couldn't do it because he was too old. So he did a blood and a DNA test on his kids to see if they were qualified to be a donor to their uncle, and none of the kids was his. Absolutely ridiculous. Women play games with these paternity tests. Yeah, that is, I know because it has happened to me. Okay. I tell you this is a personal story of mine. I have a daughter. I did not know I had a daughter until she was 16 years old. Why? Because her mother played paternity games with me. She claimed it was another guy's baby. And she swore up and down, oh, no, because I confronted her. I was like, look, that could be my baby. She was like, no, the times don't match up. This ain't this, that. I'm in love with him. It's his. I said, you could be making a grave mistake. Okay. All come to find out, wasn't even his. She was mine. 16 years. And we couldn't, making up that time is impossible. I'll put it that way. Making up that time is impossible. Ladies, don't play paternity games with your kids. Put the right man on the birth certificate. And stop playing these paternity and DNA games. You destroy lives. I know. Okay? Anyway, let's go back in. That kind of got me upset.
Pregnant and alone, and the man that you were in love with was ghosting you, and then this new man was at least there pretending to be a good guy, and you picked the best of the situation. That's called baby daddy shopping.
I couldn't find him, though. I couldn't find Matthew.
And you're going to have to stand in the truth of that, because you put another man's name on the birth certificate, which has to, in my opinion, be part of your doubts. Am I right, Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
Tell me, how did y'all get back together?
We had met up a couple different times, us face to face, after I had left the relationship that I was in. And I didn't want to bring her around right away unless he was going to actually be there full force, because I didn't want to keep bringing, I'm not going to bring people in and out of my daughter's life. If you want to be a part of my daughter's life, be a part of her life. She's already been through so much and she don't deserve that.
Yeah, don't. I don't want to see these crocodile tears. If you're going to be a part of her life, that she don't deserve that. Yeah, well, my name is not on the birth certificate. Okay, why should I see a child and you claiming it's somebody else's? If you were that serious about this man seeing his daughter, then you should have put his name on the damn certificate. Okay? And you should have claimed it from day one. But the truth of the matter is you probably wasn't even sure. So let's keep it a buck, okay? Let's keep it real. Now that you see the likeness of this guy, now you want to claim it's his. Because you're seeing the likeness in your daughter with him. So now you want to, now you're sure. But back then, you wasn't sure when there was a baby. You wasn't sure. So let's stop pretending. Let's stop playing these DNA games. And I don't want to do it. If you're going to be in her life and this, that, and the third, how about you stop messing around? Easy fix. If you're only with one person, then there's no doubt, right? But you gotta throw it around and give it up to everybody. A lot of ladies are not going to like this, but I really think DNA or paternity fraud should be a punishable crime. I don't see enough women getting punished for paternity fraud. Okay, and you should have damages. Okay, pay damages because of that. Any back child support should be punitive damages to the mother. You pay all of that. I paid how much I paid what, $20,000 in child support up to this point. You take on that debt. And you hand that over to the real daddy or whoever. But women should not be allowed to play these paternity games on men. It's a sensitive topic for me because I've been affected by this. Anyway, let's go in.
If he wanted to be in her life, and he had so much doubt, I said, okay, let's do this. Let's determine it. Let's get a DNA test, and you will see that is your child. But please, when you find out that she is yours, don't leave this time.
When we were at my cousin's place, we ended up getting in an argument. Thing kind of got heated. It's just everything all just turned around.
You know what? Since that baby was born, Mr. Gibson hasn't trusted you. Mr. Gibson has some trust issues that need to be resolved, Mr. Gibson.
Yes, I want them to be resolved.
What can Ms. Brockert do to make you believe that you can trust her? What can she do?
Just telling each other about the problems, like say that she's going through a hard time and she doesn't talk to me. How am I supposed to be there for her or help her out if she doesn't try to communicate with me so I can be there to guide her the right way?
I communicate with you all the time. I want to be with him, and he says he wants to be with me. He said that if he can see that this is his daughter, that was the big hiccup of trust. If he could trust me on that, then he'll start to trust me on everything else.
And we'll work on it slowly. We'll stay in a relationship, but the trust is gonna have to be earned back.
There was no reason for you not to trust me based upon what other people have told you, and you know that. Now with the DNA, I understand that because of the time lapse of me breaking up with you, getting pregnant, and then being with that other guy. I get that. I'm not upset with you with that. That's
Heart
why
was
we're here to
torn
get
out of
this
my
DNA
chest.
test so that you can see that.
That's
See-
called a closing
we'll
statement.
see.
She gave you 100%. This is who I am. This is who I showed you I was. And this is who I'm prepared to be. Now, sir, what are you prepared to do? Because guess what? Regardless of what is going to be contained in the envelope about a DNA test, you have to be able to establish a relationship of trust with the woman who is the mother of the child, period. Regardless if the child is yours. If you don't trust this woman standing here after what she said to you, and more importantly, what she said she proved to you, then there is no relationship. And all of this, what your cousin said, what your best friend who used to be your best friend said, and the 1,600 people that you got doing Snoopy Stoop spying all around the town, telling you what she's doing, which she's not doing anything, okay? You have no proof. Bring the proof. The only proof it might be is in this envelope I'm about to look at. How about that? Robert, please retrieve the DNA results.
Sure.
That is called proof.
And after this, and once the DNA test comes back positive match for me and my little girl, I'm gonna start trusting her. I'm willing to take that extra step to be able to continue this relationship for Cadence's sake.
Let's see. When it comes to 2-year-old Cadence Brockert, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Matthew Gibson, you are Cadence's father.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
You are Cadence's father?
Wow.
And I love seeing this.
Oh, yeah.
99.999999999.
And another 9.
While y'all have
She seemed more surprised than him. She was like, oh my God, it's true. I think they're still going to have some trust issues. Whoever that friend is, you got to get rid of him in order for this to work. You got to remove the guy from the birth certificate and put the real father on the birth certificate. Okay. If that the state that they live in, I think they're in Missouri. If Missouri would let them do that, switch out fathers due to DNA tests, some places won't even let you. It's a lot of red tape to remove a guy from a birth certificate. But I'm hoping for the best for him. I'm hoping he can kind of get over everything. Now that it's been proved that the little girl is his, maybe they should try to work on a relationship. Maybe even stay together forever. Who knows? If he can learn to trust her. Let's see what happens.
I'll have y'all's moment. The judge is having her moment. Because I love to see a DNA test that comes out the right way.
Beautiful.
I can tell you.
Why is she so surprised, or why is she so hysterical? I know y'all like, Mike, she just happy that he's the daddy. Well, she should have been happy day one, okay? Again, this touches a nerve with me because I've been through a situation like this, and I know the end result. Okay, the end result is you lose a lot of time, and it's hard to make that time up. Let me know what y'all think about this. I really would like to know. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.
That is fantastic.
Beautiful.
It's gonna take a little bit of time. Listen, it will take a little bit of time, but we will try to figure something out. Okay?
Okay.
For our sake.
Am I ugly crying?
It
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
takes a real strong person to cry. Okay?
Stay right there. You don't have to go back to the other tables. Let me just tell you, I'm a sucker. Your first family trip is on Auntie Star.